Well, first of all, what they did was they looked at me in horror as I was eating. They were like, being the fat friend does something to the way you value yourself. It does something to the way you treat yourself and ultimately how you live your life. If, like me, you've lost the weight before, you become acutely aware of just how differently the treatment you get is. Let's just say there's a conversation to be had about being the fat friend. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Alexandra here, or welcome to the channel if you're new here. I am talking about my weight loss journey or my fitness journey more than anything with my physical and mental health. So in today's video, I want to talk about something close to my heart. When do I not want to talk about something close to my heart? But anyway, we are going to get into my experience, and I think a lot of people's experience, being the fat friend in the friendship group. And my experiences in particular when I am on holiday or a special occasion, what I thought about myself, what I felt others thought about me, and how like a recent holiday actually has finally allowed me to learn how to cope and learn how to love myself. And I felt like it was quite a profound experience, and I really wanted to share that with you all in case you're in a similar position to me, or just, I guess, to learn what maybe friends of yours in my position may feel like and how to support those friends. So let's get into it. My experience, oh gosh, this is definitely, I would say this is a personal thing to discuss, definitely, and some may even say controversial. So how did I feel being, or how do I currently feel, I guess, being the bigger friend in my wider friendship group? So right off the bat, from a very young age, I've always been bigger anyway. So as far back as when I was just like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old, I was always a bit bigger. So but obviously when you're a bit younger, I don't think you don't really realize immediately attributing your weight to maybe why you're treated differently. I think other people make you realize that you are other. So you then start to take on the feelings of feeling different and feeling less than maybe because you are different. So I remember whenever I would have like a special occasion coming up or a holiday coming up, sometimes it doesn't even have to be like an extravagant occasion, just maybe meeting up to go out with your friends and being the one person that is a bit bigger, it's the anxiety and the nerves that you immediately get. I simultaneously feel invisible because you don't really get any attention, especially from the opposite sex. And then on top of that, you feel like you're in the way constantly. I felt like because of my size, I was trying to shrink myself down so that I wasn't in the way of things, you know? And sometimes that can be a physically feeling in the way, like maybe if you're passing on like a train, like in like a tube station or a train station, like maybe the passageways of like the barrier when you're touching in your card is a bit narrower, walking between the aisle and sitting sometimes next to a friend in like a tube or a bus, and you feel like you're taking a bit more space. So there were physical reasons why I felt I was in the way. I don't know, because of some of the caricatures of bigger women on TV and social media, sometimes I felt like even if I wanted to be like my full exuberant self, I felt like, don't laugh too loud, don't move your hands around too much, because I felt like I would be a caricature even if I'm not. So I almost felt like I had to subdue how I responded to things if I was in like a public setting, especially because against slimmer friends, you feel like you're even bigger. Your difference feels amplified. And because this was constantly playing on in my head, I felt like I couldn't even be present in the situation because I was obsessing about how I looked like, how I felt because of how I looked like, and how I felt like I was maybe not allowing my friends to have enjoyment in enjoyment. Not allow my friends to fully enjoy themselves because I felt like I was maybe inconveniencing them because of my size. And also feeling like you're being judged constantly, like because of all the negative stereotypes attached to bigger people. Sometimes I felt like, oh, if I have something to eat whilst we're out, don't overdo it because they're gonna think like, oh, that's why she's big, she's so greedy. And I also felt that I had to almost watch the manner in which I ate because I felt like, oh, if I'm just like, I love this piece of chicken, I want more, I'm licking my fingers and things like that, it's gonna look like, oh, she's got an insatiable appetite, that's why she's doing the most. So I almost felt like I had to be more strict in how I presented myself, just enjoying a meal. So I always used to get really like kind of anxious or nervous. And I think this also, it wasn't just like a fabrication in my head because I felt like this is how I had to behave. I was told growing up that, haven't you had enough to eat? Even if maybe the portions I have are similar to other people I'm eating around, or I'd be told that, you know, you've had enough to eat because, you know, you don't want to get even bigger. I remember I went to like a hall party once growing up, and I was told by one of my family members, well, first of all, what they did was they looked at me in horror as I was eating. They were like that was literally, that was the expression they had on their face as I was eating. Like, we are all eating, by the way. And they were like, are you sure you want to have more? And I was just like, oh. And I was so embarrassed. I was just like, let me just eat, finish this and put the plate away. And I remember feeling like, we're at a party, I would love some more food, but let me not embarrass myself more than I already have. I remember even going, an auntie even told me, we had some jollof to eat and I wanted another plate. And this is a party, guys, like everyone is having more food. Like it wasn't like it was unusual that I was asking for more. And bear in mind, like the first plate wasn't even that big. Not that I need to justify it. At the end of the day, it's a party, you're trying to eat, you're trying to have fun. So it wasn't a big deal that I was asking for more food. But she looked at me and she was just like, aren't you trying to keep the weight off? Because this was like, I want to say this was like half a year after I'd lost a lot of weight. And she was just like, aren't you trying to keep the weight off? Like you don't want to go back to where you were. And I was just like, in the middle of the party, I like kind of excused myself, had a cry in the bathroom, and then came back and I was just like, oh my God. Those experiences definitely added to how I would make myself behave around friends and family when we were in a public setting and I had to eat food around them or something, or because I was conscious of my size. I remember one of the ways I used to even think was, if somebody had told me that, if a friend of mine had told me that they'd mentioned me to somebody else that I was due to meet one day, like maybe they were having a conversation with a guy friend of theirs or a girlfriend of theirs, and they were talking about, oh, my friend Alex, etc., etc. When they would then tell me the story of talking about me to another friend, and I would be like, oh, and then I know that I have to meet this friend at a special occasion down the line, I would start getting anxious thinking that, oh, does this person know I'm big? Because maybe I won't match, maybe what they've said about me won't match what they think I look like. And all because I thought to myself, oh, they're going to judge me for what I look like. So then this made me used to also feel like was I an embarrassment to my friends? Do you see what I mean? Which is obviously ridiculous because they are your friends. And I am very, very lucky to have the kind of friends around me that absolutely adore me. Do you know what I mean? They don't look down on me in any way. They know they love me for who I am, and they don't judge me purely on my appearance. Not that there's anything wrong with my appearance at all, but they don't have a notion of who I am because of the size I am. So some of the ways that I felt about myself was not just some of the experiences I've had from a few people within my friends or my family that had made me feel less than, but more so wider society's opinion of people who are big had almost like embedded into my own mind. So I would have an opinion of what I would think people would think of me before I'd given them the chance. Not that people aren't judgmental. Obviously, we know we live in a very fatphobic society. So And obviously I did have very real experiences of feeling invisible. But I think there was also an element where I would also shrink myself preemptively before I'd even been judged. I sometimes it was a situation where I decided that I would be judged. So I thought, if I know I'm going to be judged, how do I do damage control? How do I reduce the level of judgment before people have had a chance to judge me? So the holiday that was then coming up when I went to Ghana, this December just gone, I can't tell you guys the level of anxiety I had going into this holiday. And this is like after a year of practicing self-love, self-worth, learning to love my body no matter what. Like, I was actively practicing all of those things. But I think the difference was I hadn't yet had a test almost. I guess this Ghana holiday was that test. Obviously, as you guys know, I have lost a lot of weight before. And post losing that weight, I have been on holiday, and I've been on holiday, I've had these special occasions, I've been out with my friends, and the difference in how you are treated from when you were slim and when you were big is like nothing I'd ever experienced in my life. And it was to the point where I would be getting attention, and I would kind of be like confused by the attention I was getting, because I was just like, is it me people are talking to? Like, you are treated so nice, so well, like it, and it's just, it blows my mind, the difference in treatment purely based on your appearance. Not that that isn't the case anyway in society. Like, obviously that's why there's pretty privilege, but experiencing it for myself firsthand, and I'm not gonna lie guys, it felt really, really good to be treated so nicely all the time anywhere I went. It's just like, it was almost like a massive boost in your morale. I mean, I know like the value in yourself should come from within, but let's not pretend that it's not amazing when people treat you nicely and amazingly everywhere you go. But the problem with that was I then very quickly attached feeling good about myself with how people would treat me. And so when I then gained the weight and I lost all of this like amazing treatment from people, especially in the context of being out with my friends, because I would then be treated as good as they were being treated. Like, what I used to see how they were treated and then getting to experiencing that myself was just like, this feels so good to be like accepted, you know? So when I then, and I never stopped to think, is that an issue though? Shouldn't I always have been treated well, you know? So then when I then regained the weight, and then I obviously went back to kind of feeling invisible, feeling in the way, despite the whole year of practicing self-worth, valuing myself, seeing how amazing my body is. When I was then, Ghana was coming up and I was just like, oh, now I need to put my money where my mouth is. Do you know what I mean? Do I really value myself? Do I really have a lot of self-worth? And truth be told, I was struggling to find it, because in my mind, I was telling myself, I'm going to have a crap time. I'm going to be the big one again. I'm going to feel invisible. I'm going to feel in the way. My friends are going to look amazing. They're going to be wearing all the amazing clothes and having all the amazing looks. They're going to look amazing on the beach. You know, they're going to be chatted up by all the different guys. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm not ready, I'm sure, to jump in at the deep end of testing my newfound self-love. To the point where I was thinking that, should I cancel this trip? Because I was literally terrified of going and having such a bad time. And on top of that, I was afraid that the mood that I would get myself in would impact the trip that I was going on to my friends. So because being on holiday slim and then going on holiday big, and I'm the kind of person, like I've said it before, guys, your girl is obsessed with fashion, the looks. I'm the kind of person, if I'm going somewhere, the outfit, the shoes, the color scheme, the hair, like everything has been like, I've got mood boards on mood boards. I'm that kind of person, like I'm giving you looks. So when I was then going on this holiday, I felt that, oh, I'm big, I can't do that. So how can I possibly go and look good? I won't even look as good as my slim friends. So what's the point? And these were very real thoughts I were having. So then I was just like, something was telling me that, girl, you know that is not a healthy way to be thinking. Surely you should not be going on holiday feeling like because you're a certain size, you can't look good. And like, thank God for growth, because when I was starting to think these ways, I reached out to a couple of friends of mine, and also the people I was going on, and also the friends I was going on holiday with. And I was just like, look, this is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling very, very anxious of going on the holiday. I don't want to ruin it for you guys, but I can't lie. This is literally the feelings I'm having. And one of my girls, like, shout out to this friend. Like, she really made me like reflect and refocus. She was literally saying to me that I need to change my point of view of the holiday. Right now, my holiday is all about how I'm not going to feel good because of how I look. Whereas the holiday you should be thinking of what else the holiday is going to give you. What else is this holiday for that you are entirely neglecting because you're kind of hyper focused on your appearance? And then so then on top of that conversation, I then spoke with my sister and my friend who I was traveling with. And they were like, oh, do you want to cancel it? And I was just like, when they said that to me, and I realized that, wow, first of all, they obviously absolutely love me, which is amazing. But I then thought to myself, I can't believe how I feel about myself has prompted them to potentially cancel the holiday we've all been looking forward to for over half a year. So then I was just like, okay. So then I thought, okay, I know I shouldn't be feeling like this. So what are my coping mechanisms? I basically started to journal how I was feeling and why I was feeling like that. I started to also explore why I only ever attached my holidays and special occasions to what my body looked like. And then that made me like pause for a moment, and I thought, oh my goodness, why have I never realized that my holidays are about absolutely making the most incredible memories with people that I love unconditionally? And that matters exceedingly more than what I look like. And it took a while for this to like kind of like marinate within my head, when I was just like, oh my goodness. The ball kind of dropped for me when I was just like, this holiday is about friendship. This holiday is about love. This holiday is about experiencing new things, creating incredible memories, creating core memories. And I have been so focused on how I look. Like, I'm making myself small because of what I think people may think about me. I don't even know if they're thinking that. And most of the time, who even cares about other people unless there's somebody to you? And I was just like, wow, like, get it together. Like, this holiday should never have been, and most of your holidays should never have been, purely about your appearance. So then as I started to think that way, I started to feel a bit more like at ease, like, who cares about all those things? So that definitely gave me the confidence to know I'm still going. And one of the first things I did was start like shopping for clothes that would flatter my figure right now, because I've been so like looking ahead to the way I want to look. I didn't stop to think, wait, no, this is how I look right now. I feel good about myself. I feel amazing. I'm always practicing valuing myself. So actually be that way, you know? So the first thing that meant was actually buying proper fitting clothes so that I could go out there and feel comfortable. And if I went out there and felt comfortable within my body, I knew that I could then relax into the experience. If you're feeling that way about maybe a pending holiday, pending special occasion, I think it definitely helped me to realize that, what is this special occasion? What is this holiday actually about? Like, several months after the fact, what will you remember for that experience? Are you going to remember barely laughing with your friends? Are you going to remember like a joke you shared with a friend, something that you saw on holiday? Like, those are the things that are going to matter to you in the future. So those are the things that should matter to you in the moment. And then finally, obviously I don't want to sell you guys dreams. When I was then actually out there, I realized that as good as I felt before we landed in terms of like practicing self-love, journaling, valuing myself, remembering that the holiday was about enjoying this amazing experience with my sister and my best friend. When we then were there, obviously there were still moments where I was just like, oh, she looks really, really good in that outfit. Oh, I love what they're wearing. I wish I could look like that. It was every day practicing self-love, every day reminding myself that I'm here to make amazing memories with people that I love. And doing that every single day, 1,000,000,000% made this holiday probably one of the best holidays of my life. Like, I am so proud of myself for loving myself and actually practicing that self-love. I am so grateful for the amazing friends that I had that made me feel so amazing. And although I'm not where I want to be with my body, I genuinely learn how to love myself every single day, how to put that into practice whenever I waver, and to know that this is like the amazing things that I'm going to do with my life whenever they come. However I look in my body should never determine the joy I should have in those experiences. So I'm just, guys, every single like learning this journey of like growth and fitness and self-love and mental health, like the clarity that it brings me every time I kind of work on myself is just, I love it. It wasn't easy, but we are growing, and I highly recommend self-love for just making so many experiences of your life incredible. So yeah, that's it, guys. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you in my next video.